Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew, man? We're back. Hey, man, we're back on the channel with another one, man. We got the youngest serial killers in history. That's a title. That's a title for your panty droppers. This right here, a panty dropper.
Wait, what?
I don't know. Who is that?
First of all, that's Trey Songz.
Oh, that is Trey.
Second of all,
I don't know.
what's the...
I don't know.
You know, some people do be having weird
obsessions.
Some people do be
when
having...
you said that, I thought I was saying
some people do be having weird obsessions when it comes to, like...
Yeah. Some people, they get off on that. Yeah. So it is a panty drop.
No, I still don't want to think that's
hey. Make sure y'all check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go. If you want to first support, you got to do it. Check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video,
lock it in with a thumbs up.
Let's go, man. Let's check it out. Let's see who's about. You ready?
Warning. This video discusses serious crimes involving minors. Viewer discretion advised. Amarjit Sada, age 7 to 8. In 2007, a village in Bihar, India, was shaken by a discovery that would make global headlines. 8-year-old Amarjit Sada was arrested by police for the murder of 3 infants. He became known as the world's youngest serial...
I hate when we did a whole, hour and a half video, 2 hour Rotten Mango video about this dude.
What?
Yes.
I remember that time. Yeah. Maybe if I see, like, if I hear how, it'll probably trigger something. Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember.
You see?
Yeah.
Look at you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When it was almost a year ago.
See.
Serial killer,
That's why.
a title that still haunts criminal psychology to this day. Amarjit Sada was born in 1998 in the village of Mushahar, one of Bihar's most impoverished areas. His parents were daily laborers who struggled to feed their large family. Poverty was extreme. Opportunities were non-existent. Life was a daily fight for survival. In 2006, when Amarjit was just 7 years old, his aunt came to visit, leaving her infant daughter in the family's care while she went to work in the city. While Amarjit's mother went to the market, she left young Amarjit to watch his baby cousin and his younger sister. What happened next was unthinkable. According to reports, Amarjit harmed the baby, eventually causing her death. He concealed the body in tall grass near the home. When his aunt returned and discovered what happened, the family was devastated. But here's where the story takes an even darker turn. They didn't report it to authorities. In their community, such matters brought shame and could lead to social and economic ruin. The death was covered up, attributed to illness or accident. Months later, Amarjit's own infant sister died under similar circumstances while the family slept. Again, there were suspicions, but the family remained silent. Some members reportedly knew or suspected what Amarjit had done, but these were considered family matters. The cycle of silence continued. It wasn't until 2007 that the outside world learned the truth. A 6-month-old baby named Kushbu disappeared from a local primary school. The community searched frantically. When police investigated, witnesses reported seeing young Amarjit near the school that day. Under questioning, the 8-year-old confessed, not just to Kushbu's death, but to the earlier incidents involving his cousin and sister. Psychologists who evaluated Amarjit described him as showing no understanding of right and wrong. One called him someone who derived satisfaction from causing harm. Others noted he appeared to lack empathy entirely. The International Journal of Indian Psychology published analysis suggesting severe neglect and possible mental illness, though some reports also claimed potential abuse in the home. Indian law presented a unique challenge. Children cannot be sentenced to death or sent to adult prison in India. Amarjit was placed in a juvenile home until age 18. In 2016, when he turned 18, he was released. His current whereabouts are unknown. He was given a new identity and released back into society. The terrifying reality is that no one knows where Amarjit Sada is today. He's in his mid-20s now, living somewhere under a new name. Whether he was rehabilitated during his 10 years in the facility remains unclear. His case raised urgent questions about how to handle children who commit violent acts and whether an 8-year-old can truly be reformed. Jesse
I wonder, does he still remember, like, have remember committing those crimes? And also, I understand them saying that he doesn't understand right from wrong, but also in the same breath, he does kind of understand right from wrong because he gets a thrill from it, from doing wrong. So he got the satisfaction of doing harm to people. So he knows what he's doing is wrong, but he gets so.
Or
I guess
are they saying like he know that he gets the satisfaction from harming people, but his like he doesn't.
You know.
I'm just saying what they said.
You know, though.
I don't know, but anyway. But I do wonder, like, was he rehabilitated? Like, what is he doing now?
Because I feel
has he been in any trouble under the new,
And what they even could be contributed to who he once was. Well, say for instance, he go out here and harm somebody. Would y'all say, "Oh, that's Amarjit"?
Yeah.
Now, or would that be a contributor to whoever identity?
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So, say for instance, he go and murder now. Would y'all be like, "Oh, that's his fourth murder," or now since he got a new alias and y'all try to hide who he actually is into the real world, that contributes just for one.
Yeah.
Also, does that quench his thirst? Because obviously he had a thirst for it. Because a lot of times they say people who have a thirst, they can lay dormant for a while, but then they have that desire yet again another time.
Pomeroy, age 12 to 14, December 1874. A Boston courtroom fell silent as a 14-year-old boy stood before the judge. Jesse Pomeroy had just been convicted of murder, becoming the youngest person in Massachusetts history to face a first-degree murder charge. The courtroom was packed. Reporters filled every seat. The entire nation was watching, because this case forced America to confront an uncomfortable question. Can a child be evil? Jesse Pomeroy was born in 1859 in Charlestown, Massachusetts. From birth, he was different. A medical condition left his right eye covered with a white film, giving him an unsettling appearance. Other children mocked him relentlessly. His father, a butcher, was harsh and distant. School became a nightmare of isolation. By age 12, something had changed in Jesse.
So the question was, can kids be born evil?
Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't born evil. He wasn't born evil.
Between 1871 and 1872, young boys in the Chelsea and South Boston areas began reporting attacks by an older boy. They described being lured to isolated locations with promises of money or adventure. Once alone, they were restrained and harmed. The attacks escalated in severity. 7 different boys came forward with similar stories. What disturbed investigators was the pattern. Each attack showed calculation and planning. This wasn't impulsive childhood aggression. It was something else entirely. Police eventually identified 12-year-old Jesse Pomeroy as the attacker. He confessed readily, showing little emotion. The court sentenced him to a reform school until he turned 18. It seemed like the story was over, but Jesse's mother believed her son deserved a second chance. She lobbied for his early release, and in February 1874, after serving just 17 months, Jesse was freed. 6 weeks later, 2 children went missing. In March, 10-year-old Katie Curran vanished after visiting the Pomeroy family's shop. In April, another young child was found deceased. The violence was extreme. Investigators immediately suspected Jesse. When police searched the Pomeroy shop months later, they found Katie Curran's body hidden in the basement. Jesse was arrested and confessed to both deaths. He was 14 years old. The trial became a national sensation. Experts debated whether a child could truly understand the consequences of taking a life. Jesse's lawyers argued he suffered from what was then called moral insanity, an irresistible compulsion he couldn't control. The prosecution painted him as fully aware.
He actually could control it because while he was locked up, he ain't no bodies.
Cause I do wonder, like when like they're locked up in this confined, space. Like if you really have like this, you'll still be in there taking, what I'm saying?
But they don't.
But they don't. So
do you have self-control because other people in there on that same shit? So you like,
or it's easy to be like. That it's easy for it to be traced back to you, but with him, it's more.
Well, not necessarily because it's a lot of people get killed in prison that can't trace back who did it.
So I wonder why, because I feel like we done talked about that before.
But Is it because other people in there may be a threat just as much as you a threat? So it's power over power, because everybody else seems like they more of a
It
vulnerable.
could be, yeah, it could be something of that nature. Yeah.
Aware and calculating,
But you could
the
still be
jury
trolling.
found him guilty. The judge sentenced him to death. At 14, Jesse Pomeroy was the youngest person in Massachusetts to receive a death sentence, but he would never be executed. The governor commuted his sentence to life in prison, where Jesse would spend 41 years in solitary confinement, one of the longest periods anyone has spent in isolation. Jesse Pomeroy died in prison in 1932 at age 72. He'd served 58 years behind bars. Even in his final years, he maintained that something had compelled him to commit his crimes, some force he couldn't name or understand. Modern psychologists who've studied his case believe he may have suffered from conduct disorder or early onset psychopathy, combined with the trauma of severe bullying and possible abuse.
Yeah.
Mary Bell, age 10.
I do think it's due from over excessive bullying, but not just amongst kids, but also the household. You know what I'm saying? Dynamic. When you don't have anyone you can turn to on either way, it could mess you up mentally. Because not only am I being harassed and tortured outside the home, I come back home and probably get it worse from the parents. And then I don't know if he come from a 2-parent house, obviously because his mom was in his life too. So how did your mom treat you?
Yeah.
Did she treat you horrible like the dad? Sometimes that will happen.
To 11. May 25th, 1968. Newcastle upon Tyne, England. A 4-year-old boy named Martin Brown was found deceased in an abandoned house. The initial investigation suggested a tragic accident. There were no obvious signs of foul play. The case might have closed there, if not for what happened next. The day after Martin's discovery, someone broke into a nearby nursery school and vandalized it. Among the destruction, police found notes scrawled in crayon. One read, "We did murder Martin Brown." Investigators dismissed it as a sick joke, children playing pranks. But it wasn't a prank. Mary Bell was born in 1957 to a 16-year-old mother who worked in difficult circumstances. From the beginning, Mary's life was marked by severe neglect and concerning treatment. Her mother was frequently absent, leaving Mary in dangerous situations. There were reports of harm that no child should ever endure. By age 10, Mary had become withdrawn, manipulative, and prone to violent outbursts. On May 25th, the day before her 11th birthday, Mary caused Martin Brown's death in that abandoned house. She was so small herself that investigators couldn't initially determine what had happened. It appeared to be an accident or sudden illness. 2 months later, on July 31st, 3-year-old Brian Howe disappeared while playing outside his home. His body was found that evening. This time, the evidence was clear. Someone had harmed him deliberately. Police began interviewing local children. 2 girls kept appearing in the investigation, Mary Bell and her friend Norma Bell, who, despite sharing a last name, were not related. Both girls acted strangely during questioning. Norma seemed excited about the investigation. Mary was evasive and showed odd emotional responses. Eventually, Norma told police that Mary had confessed to her about Brian. When confronted, Mary denied everything, but the evidence was building. In December 1968, both girls stood trial. Mary Bell was 11 years old. The courtroom struggled with how to handle a child defendant accused of such serious crimes. The prosecution had to prove that Mary understood the wrongfulness of her actions. The defense argued she was too young to form criminal intent and had suffered such severe mistreatment that her mental state was compromised. After deliberation, the jury found Mary guilty of manslaughter due to diminished responsibility, not murder. Norma was acquitted. Mary was sentenced to be detained at Her Majesty's pleasure, essentially an indefinite sentence. She was sent to a secure facility for young offenders. Mary served 12 years before being released at age 23. She was given a new identity and lifelong anonymity to allow her a chance at rehabilitation. That anonymity has been extended to protect her daughter and granddaughter. What makes Mary's case particularly significant is what it revealed about childhood trauma. Gita Sarani, a journalist who extensively studied the case, found that Mary had been subjected to horrific mistreatment throughout her childhood. She wasn't born violent. She was shaped by circumstances no child should face. Mary Bell's case forced Britain to examine how it treats both child offenders and child victims of mistreatment. Today, Mary Bell lives anonymously somewhere in Britain. According to those who've spoken with her, she doesn't claim to be wrongly convicted and acknowledges that her traumatic childhood doesn't excuse her actions. Robert Thompson and John Venables.
You think they did by herself? She thinks she could have said we did. Unless you got multiple personalities.
Yes, yeah.
That's the only other, or did her Norma do it?
I Norma could have did. Norma was a little too happy. But what you happy for? Because even at like that age, I'm gonna be like, you know what I'm saying?
You would presume.
Oh, yeah, because I yeah.
You don't know because you ain't never had to deal with that.
You're right. I haven't. So I have no clue. Let's move on.
But I just feel like
Came
because how she know?
She said Norm. I mean, she said Mary.
She
told
say
her.
it's a kids say a lot
And
of
then
things.
Mary said she lied, but Mary actually did do it. But we just don't know if Norma was actually there.
How do we know Mary actually? Mary never confessed.
Well, they had the
Mary never. They say evidence was building up. What
well,
evidence?
maybe it's
Why?
some
Because Norma
evidence.
was willing to take the stand and point. That's the evidence.
So what you saying, Norma?
We know a lot of people say they did it, and they whole time they lying. That finger they pointing with, they got 3 on pointing back at them. Yeah.
Age 10. February 12th, 1993. Bootle, England. 2-year-old James Bulger was shopping with his mother at the New Strand Shopping Center when he disappeared. Security cameras captured haunting footage. 2 older boys leading the toddler away by the hand. The boys were Robert Thompson and John Venables. They were both 10 years old. What followed was one of the most shocking crimes in British history. The 2 boys led James on a 2.5-mile walk through Liverpool. Dozens of people saw them. Some even asked if the toddler was okay. The boys told them he was their brother, or that they were taking him to the police station. No one intervened. They eventually brought James to a railway line in Walton. There, away from witnesses, they attacked him. The violence was extreme and prolonged. They left his body on the tracks. 2 days later, James's remains were discovered. The nation was horrified. Police reviewed CCTV footage and released images of the 2 boys. Anonymous tips led them to Robert Thompson and John Venables, both of whom had been absent from school that day. During questioning, both boys initially denied involvement. Eventually, under pressure and with evidence mounting, they began admitting to parts of what happened, though each blamed the other for the worst of it. The backgrounds of both boys revealed troubled homes. Robert Thompson came from a family where violence was common. He'd witnessed and experienced severe mistreatment from a young age. John Venables also had a difficult upbringing, though different in nature. Both boys had shown behavioral problems at school. In November 1993, Thompson and Venables stood trial. Because of the severity of the crime, they were tried in an adult court, though accommodations were made for their age. The trial was extraordinarily difficult. The judge, jury, and public struggled with the reality that 10-year-old children had committed such an act. Both were found guilty and sentenced to detention at Her Majesty's pleasure. The judge called it an act of unparalleled evil and barbarity. But determining how long they should serve proved controversial. The original recommendation was 8 years, later increased to 10, which meant they'd be released as teenagers. Public outrage was intense. James Bulger's family was devastated, feeling that justice hadn't been served. But in 2001, when both boys reached age 18, they were released with new identities and lifelong anonymity orders to protect them from vigilante violence. Since then, their paths have diverged. Robert Thompson has reportedly not reoffended and has lived quietly under his new identity. John Venables, however, has been recalled to prison twice, both times for offenses related to inappropriate images of children. His repeated offenses have reignited debates about whether he should have been released in the first place. The James Bulger case remains one of the most analyzed and debated cases in British legal history. It raised fundamental questions. At what age can someone be held fully responsible? Can children who commit such acts be rehabilitated? And how do we balance punishment with the understanding that children's brains are still developing? Craig Price, age...
What's so crazy to me is how y'all keep allowing them to commit these crimes. They get a slap on the wrist with the time, right? The sentencing time, I think that's a bigger debate, right?
Yeah.
My biggest problem is the fact that y'all give them a whole new identity to say, hey, and it's basically they get to run away from their past.
Yeah.
I don't like that factor. Like, oh, we don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, maybe just because we from a different society, you know, so it is different. So we will think about things differently. Yeah. Because that doesn't happen here, you know what I'm saying? Like, you commit that crime and no matter what age, you stick to it. Yeah. But how you feel about that they give them a whole new identity that they get to...
Initially thinking about it, like, I think it's kind of like, why? Like, I'm thinking, like, why? But again, I guess, like you said, because it's not, like, our norm for that to happen. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure if I was over there and, like, because it seemed like this is just something, because how many, we done heard, like, one or two others?
So, the 2 from the UK and then 1 from India, yeah.
I guess it's, like, the norm for others, you know, and stuff like that. But, I don't know, it's just, it's different. I mean, I kind of, because it is kind of like, oh, you know, hey, here you go. Go and have a new life and enjoy and be, you know, but this person is still dealing with the, you know, grieving or the trauma that you did this to their child or whatever the case may be. Like, they don't get to be like, oh, here you go, here's a new identity, go and just forget about the past,
forget about that child that's years old, and go live your life.
And I get them being kids, and because I wonder, is it adults too that get or is it just kids that get?
I guess it's just the kids.
Just the kids. I don't know.
That's up for debate on
It's up for debate. So I guess, you know, because it's a sensitive subject, I guess, you know, because it's dealing with, you know, but yeah.
13 to 15. September 5th, 1989. Warwick, Rhode Island. Police responded to a disturbing scene at a family home. Inside, they found 3 victims. The violence was extreme and shocking. The community was terrified. A dangerous killer was on the loose. What police didn't initially realize was that the killer lived just a few houses away, and he was 15 years old. Craig Price was born in 1973 and grew up in the Buttonwoods neighborhood of Warwick. To his neighbors, he seemed like a normal kid, athletic, involved in sports, generally friendly. He was known as Iron Man because of his size and strength. His teachers described him as bright, but beneath that normal exterior, something was deeply wrong. On July 27, 1987, when Craig was just 13 years old, he committed his first act of violence. His victim was Rebecca Spencer, a 27-year-old mother who lived 2 houses away from the Price family. Craig broke into her home and attacked her. The crime was brutal and appeared motiveless. Police had no suspects. The case went cold. For 2 years, nothing happened. Craig went to school, played sports, and lived what appeared to be a normal teenage life. Then, on September 1st, 1989, he struck again. This time, his victims were the Heaton family, Joan and her 2 young daughters. Craig later admitted he was under the influence of substances when he broke into their home that night. The breakthrough came 4 days later. Police noticed that Craig had an injury on his hand, which he claimed was from an unrelated accident. A search of his home revealed concerning evidence. Under questioning, Craig confessed, not just to the Heaton family attacks, but to Rebecca Spencer's death 2 years earlier. His confession was chilling in its lack of remorse. When asked why he did it, he couldn't provide a clear answer. Craig Price was arrested just weeks before his 16th birthday. This presented a massive legal problem. Under Rhode Island law at the time, juveniles could not be tried as adults, regardless of how serious their crimes were. This meant Craig could only be held until age 21. Despite killing 4 people, he would serve a maximum of 6 years. The community was outraged. How could someone who'd committed such violent acts be released after just a few years? Citizens formed groups to lobby for legal changes. The case attracted national attention. Even President Bill Clinton weighed in, advocating for reforms to juvenile justice laws. Rhode Island passed new legislation allowing juveniles to be tried as adults for serious crimes. But these changes couldn't be applied retroactively to Craig Price. He'd beaten the system, or so it seemed. While incarcerated, Craig's behavior ensured he wouldn't be released at 21. He repeatedly got into fights, assaulted corrections officers, and violated institutional rules. Each infraction resulted in additional charges and extended sentences. In 2004, he was transferred to Florida's prison system, where he continued his pattern of violence. In 2017, Craig Price was charged with attacking another inmate. He pleaded guilty and received an additional 25-year sentence. Now in his early 50s, Craig Price remains behind bars and likely will for the rest of his life. Psychologists who've studied Craig's case point to several factors. He experienced significant challenges growing up. He witnessed violence at home. He had untreated behavioral issues from a young age. But experts also note that many children face similar circumstances without becoming violent. What made Craig different remains a subject of study. His case transformed how America handles violent juvenile offenders. It proved that age alone doesn't determine someone's capacity for extreme violence. And it highlighted the need for early intervention when children show warning signs of severe behavioral problems. Jasmine Richardson, age...
And that's the part of what we was talking about earlier, like lay dormant within them for attack. And he was like, how can you be able to bottle this up in prison, but then you come back home and you're able to commit these crimes. His didn't lay dormant at all.
Right.
He still attacked.
Even
And
there. So with the ones that do, I be wondering, like,
so that's just who he is. That's like psychologically, that's who he is. So I wonder when we do try to do these psychological studies, are y'all really getting it right or are y'all getting it wrong? Because if that's who you is and you are like a sociopath or a psychopath, you won't be able to. You'll have to act on those urges. So it's who you are. You know what you get what I mean? So what stops you from having the urge while you're in prison around, or are you just a coward? You get what I mean? Because I don't know. That's a good one to study, though.
12, April 23rd, 2006. Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada. Police responded to a disturbing call about bodies discovered in a residential home. When they arrived, they found 3 victims: Mark Richardson, his wife Deborah, and their 8-year-old son Jacob. The violence was shocking, but what made this case even more disturbing was who was missing: the family's 12-year-old daughter Jasmine. At first, police feared Jasmine had been taken or harmed as well, but as they investigated, a different picture emerged. In Jasmine's school locker, they found a drawing, stick figures of a family inside a burning house, and a girl running to a truck. Evidence on her computer revealed dark conversations with an older man named Jeremy Steinke. Within 24 hours, police located Jasmine and Jeremy in Saskatchewan. They were arrested together. Under interrogation, the truth came out. Jasmine and Jeremy had planned and executed the attack together. Jasmine Richardson had been a typical preteen until about age 11, when she became interested in goth subculture. She dressed in black, wore heavy makeup, and spent hours online in forums dedicated to dark themes. Her parents, Mark and Deborah, initially thought it was just a phase. But when the 12-year-old began a relationship with 23-year-old Jeremy Steinke, they became alarmed. Jeremy claimed to be a 300-year-old werewolf. He wore a vial of what he said was blood around his neck. He was immersed in fantasy and had his own troubled background, including an unstable childhood and possible developmental issues. When Jasmine's parents discovered messages between their daughter and Jeremy discussing violent themes, they forbade her from seeing him. They took away her computer. They grounded her. But Jasmine found ways to communicate with Jeremy anyway, and her resentment toward her parents grew. In online conversations, Jasmine began expressing a desire to be free of her parents. Jeremy encouraged these thoughts. Together, they began discussing a plan. On April 22nd, the night before the attacks, they watched the movie Natural Born Killers, about a couple who go on a violent spree after the boyfriend eliminates the girlfriend's parents. The next night, Jeremy entered the Richardson home through a basement window. Witnesses later testified that Jeremy was responsible for the attacks on Jasmine's parents, while Jasmine was in her brother's room. The details of what happened to 8-year-old Jacob remain disputed, with each defendant blaming the other. After fleeing the scene, Jasmine and Jeremy were found the next day. Both were charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. The trial raised complex questions. Jasmine was 12 years old when the crimes occurred, making her the youngest person in Canadian history to be convicted of multiple counts of murder. Could someone so young truly understand the permanence and horror of what she'd done? Was she manipulated by an older partner, or was she an active participant? The court found Jasmine guilty on all 3 counts. Because of her age, she received the maximum sentence allowed under Canada's Youth Criminal Justice Act, 10 years, with 4 years in a psychiatric facility followed by community supervision. Jeremy Steinke was convicted as an adult and received 3 life sentences. In 2016, after completing her 10-year sentence, Jasmine Richardson was released. She's now in her early 30s, living under a new identity somewhere in Canada. Canadian law protects her privacy, and her records were sealed after she served her time without reoffending. Her release was controversial. James's family believed she deserved a longer sentence. Others pointed to her young age at the time of the crimes and argued that rehabilitation should be possible for children. Jasmine Richardson's case illustrates the complexity of juvenile justice. She was a child influenced by an adult, immersed in dark online subcultures, and struggling with her own mental health. But she was also convicted of participating in the deaths of her family. Where does accountability begin? And can someone who committed such acts at age 12 truly be reformed? If you'd like to see more stories like this, make sure to subscribe and feel free to drop suggestions.
That's a lot, because I think everything is case by case, and every child is different.
Sure.
Every situation is different, and I do understand that one child can go through the same thing the other child, but that child turns out to do great in life and not be someone that hurt taking other people's lives.
Repeat offender.
Taking people life, period.
I said a repeated offender. The man he's doing the crime. My bad. Keep going.
No, I know a repeat offender. I'm saying you may have a child that they describe like having a bad upbringing and stuff like that. I'm saying you may have a child that has a bad upbringing, but they don't turn into a killer. And then you have a child that may, so it's just like, and they may be the same age. So I just wonder, like, how do they like determine? I don't know. It's just complicated. All this was complicated, but yeah, I don't know. I do wonder what she's doing now. Like, does she have a family of her own now?
But all of them. Like,
well, yeah.
Only one we know for a fact that he
is Craig.
Yeah, he a little messed up mentally, but
yeah, but I just wonder. And then we know about the other one because he keep in and out. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, John. But they keep letting him out though.
Yeah,
lock his ass up and keep him in
there, so he can stop harming people.
Yeah. But y'all spam us up, man. Let us know y'all thoughts about it for us in the comments down below for us. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We are.
We
out.
Go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my folks. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me.